911, what's your emergency? 911, what's your emergency?
Be advised, Car 4 has control of the pursuit. Proceed with caution.
Hello, everyone. How are you guys? How's everybody doing this Sunday evening? How are you guys? How's everybody doing this Sunday evening? Hang on a second, I got an echo. Hang on a second, I got an echo. Okay, I think I figured it out. Sorry, guys. Well, I hope everyone had a good weekend. I know I had said I wasn't going to go live until tomorrow after the press conference on Delphi, but I just could not come and go live with everything that's been going on out there. I wanted to address some of it and just kind of have a Q&A with you guys where you could ask me questions if you like. And we're going to talk about some of the things that have gone on. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of background on the US Marshals Service so you kind of have an idea of what they do. I've had a lot of questions about why would the US Marshals even be involved, and why would they be at the press conference tomorrow. So I wanted to give you guys, excuse me, a little bit of that background. Hey, Lisa Marie, thank you so much. I'm so happy to have you here. Welcome to the doors. My nose itches, you guys, crazy. So wow, what a last couple of days, you know. Hi Mike. Thank you so much. It is my birthday weekend. Tomorrow's my birthday. In fact, I am going to go over some Halloween stuff with you guys tonight. So we're going to talk Delphi too, but we're also going to have some a little bit of uplifting things about Halloween. So I wanted to kind of do that for you guys. So I can tell you that I haven't been sleeping well since this all broke. I can't seem to shut off my brain. Every time I sit down and I've got my notepad and my pen with me, and I'm just writing constantly of things that are coming into my head and questions that I have. And, how can this be this way? And, just so many questions. And I know you guys have them too. I'm absolutely understanding of that. It's just crazy how this seemingly has come out of nowhere, even though we all have been praying and hoping for this day for so long, that now that it's actually happened, I think we're all in shock. And I think we're all in shock because the person that they have arrested, no one has had on their radar. And at least publicly, no one has had on their radar, which in a lot of ways, to me, that is a really good thing for this case, because he's not somebody that everybody's been talking about. And I'm going to put out there that we as content creators and subscribers and commenters on social media, we need to be careful going forward on how we cover the rest of this case, because just throwing out random names and thinking and going up your hill to die on that hill with your so-called POI that doesn't match what law enforcement is saying is not a good look. And it is not where you need to be right now, simply because it will hurt the case and could hurt the case very badly in the long run. We don't want to do anything to taint a jury. It's going to be really hard as it is to seat a jury in this case fairly. We don't want to give the defense in this case, no matter who it is that they're charging with this, we don't want to give the defense any reason to have this case overturned or thrown out on appeal. And you can guarantee if it ends up going to court where the person charged does not plea out or, say, hey, yeah, I agree, I'm guilty, I don't need a trial. That's possible, but I think it's unlikely. I don't really foresee that happening in this case, but it is a possibility, and we need to be prepared for that. So we just need to be really careful. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that are not happy with this announcement because they just feel like there's absolutely no way it could be this guy. Where'd he come from? Why are we just hearing about him now? And I'm sure and positive that at some point this will all be explained to us, but we have to be patient. They don't owe us anything right now. They are working their case, diligently putting it together, making sure that all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted, and that they have everything that they need to go to court. Do we know if other people are involved? Nope. We have no way of knowing that yet. Is it possible? Yes. Most certainly it's possible that this is only the tip of the iceberg. It also could be that this is a lone wolf and that they operated alone. I mean, there's just so many things, and we're going to discuss those. I promise. So just bear with me while we get through this. Hey, Tortor, thank you for being here tonight. Thank you, Betty Majors, for the birthday wish. Hey, Purdue RN, how are you? Hi, Mike. Thank you again for the birthday wish. The best gift ever, Purdue. I was just telling Cop Faxx this afternoon when I was speaking with him. I could not have asked for a better birthday gift, and I'm absolutely blown away that this is happening on my birthday. I really, truly am. I would have never, ever imagined it. Hey, Tech Death, how are you doing, my dear? Hi, Baby Bear. Hey, CJK. So good to see you. Hi, Mrs. Thang. How are you? Hey, Michelle. How are you, my dear? So good to have you with me. Hey, Todd Cantwell. Hi, Spirit of the Pigeon. Happy Halloween to you. Hey, Daisy. We are almost to the presser. It can't happen soon enough for me, I'm telling you. Thank you, CJK. It's so good to see everyone here tonight. Hey, True Crime Housewife. How are you? Hey, John. Good to see you, my dear. Yes, Spirit of the Pigeon, the spirits are definitely echoing behind the crime door. They definitely are. They definitely are. Hey, Jack. How are you? Hi, Lisa Marie. Halifax, Nova Scotia. No, the United States Marshals Service does not play around. Hold on one second. I have got to find a tissue for my nose. Hold on one moment, please. It is driving me crazy. I hate when that happens when I'm live, and I'm sorry, you guys. Yeah, that's what my grandmother used to tell me, True Crime Housewife. That's what my grandma used to tell me. Oh, gosh. Oh. Thank you, guys. Magic mouse. There you go. Hi, C-Wise. Hey, Jamie. Kagan Klein was not just arrested a week ago. No. Kagan Klein was arrested in August of 2019. Sorry, August of 2020. My brain is fried. He was arrested on August 19th of 2020. Yeah, I think the defense will request a change of venue as well. I definitely think that it's going to be really hard to get a seated jury in Carroll County. You're okay, Michelle. Please be careful. Hi, Heaven 57. That's what they're calling Richard Allen, Heaven. Yeah, Grunge Truck, that is one of the reasons. But that's not the only reason that they're involved. Tech Death is amazing. His music is amazing. Candy Girl, I couldn't say it better. It makes certain people look unhinged to deny what law enforcement is telling us. I am so frustrated with, for years, we've heard how horrible law enforcement has been through this case and all the things that they've done wrong because they didn't talk to us and they didn't tell us what they were doing. Now that they're telling us what they're doing, everybody is screaming. Well, not everybody, but a large majority of people are refusing to believe this. And those, like I said, who are willing to go up on this hill and die on the hill for their POI, I will never understand why they are even covering the case, because this isn't about them and their POI. This is about justice for Abby and Libby, and by making sure that the right person is arrested and pays for this crime. Heaven, thank you so much for your super sticker. I so appreciate you. Thank you so much for that. It means the world to me. Yeah, so I will never understand, Candy Girl, those people that choose to do that. This isn't about any of us. This case is about Abby and Libby receiving justice. And I've said all along, I don't have to be right. I've never had a POI in this case, and I've covered it since day one. I never felt I had enough information to have a person of interest in this case. Were there a lot of people named out there in social media land that fit or made sense? Of course there were. That doesn't mean that they were guilty, however. Hey, Crimezilla, how are you doing? He does, John. He fits the FBI profile. He truly does. He certainly does. Well, if you remember right, we have been told for years that this person was hiding in plain sight. Hiding in plain sight, living amongst them in Delphi. In Delphi. I have always believed he was local. I knew that he was going to be a person that the community either went to church with and saw every Sunday at church. He was going to be a neighbor who they would see out cutting his grass, talking to him over the bushes. He was going to be a person that they saw out at the store and would say hello to. I firmly believed that, and I've talked to you guys about it so much. That's how I felt. This guy has always felt local to me. That area where the girls ultimately were killed is so treacherous and so off the beaten path. If you don't live in that area and you are not familiar with it, there's no way you would know it was there. And I've always felt that Bridge Guy was very aware of it. The way that man came across that bridge, you could tell that he walked that bridge often. And that was just my opinion. CJK says, my question is, if you know the answer, did the wife turn him in recently because she came across something like evidence? I've been reading she tipped him in 2 times before. I have heard rumors that, and I'm not saying the wife, I've heard rumors that there were family members of his that did tip him in. No way of knowing if that's true. Law enforcement will be the ones that can tell us all of that. Hi, Carrie. It certainly is. And when I heard that he worked at CVS, my first thought was, my gosh, this man has passed out their prescriptions, taken their orders for their photos, um, waited on them, maybe help them find some sort of over-the-counter medication, possibly even carried things to their car for them. I mean, I just thought of all of that. And again, we were told this person is going to fit in. They're not going to stand out. They're going to fit in. And that's what psychopaths and sociopaths are able to do. And the reason we can't fathom it or understand it is because we don't think like they do. We're not like them. So of course we don't understand it. And what we don't understand makes us very scared. These guys are very good at compartmentalizing their lives. And their BTK called it like switching a switch on and off. His family life and his being a father and being the head of the church and going to work every day, that was one switch. But when he became BTK, there was another switch that just was switched off. And it was like, that was the mode that he was in. And they don't have remorse. They don't have the same kind of feelings or understanding of feelings that we do. It's going to be really interesting to hear what the psychologists have to say about this individual. But seeing him in a photograph in public, sitting in front of a wanted poster with his picture on it, says a lot to me about who this person is and what kind of person this is. Hang on, I'm just trying to keep up with the chat, and I'm a little bit behind. Yeah, we have no idea if he acted alone or if there are others that are involved. We will find that out, obviously. But I can tell you that Becky updated her Facebook yesterday with this photograph. Give me just one moment. And that was from Becky yesterday. Now, I guarantee you, she wouldn't have posted that if she didn't feel confident the bridge guy was arrested. If you guys remember when we had last month, when we had the fiasco on the Saturday where everybody got told that bridge guy had been arrested and that it was Tony Klein and he was in jail in Miami County. And no, he wasn't in Miami County at all. He was in Carroll County. You remember that Saturday, you guys? Well, do you remember what Kelsey tweeted to all of us? Do not believe anything about bridge guy unless you hear it from us or law enforcement. Because the first people law enforcement are going to tell anything to are the families. Hey, Annette P. How are you? Hi, Danita McCord. Thank you so very much for your birthday wishes. Hey, True Crime Housewife. Isn't he great? I love HCC so much. He is my good friend, and I'm glad you got to meet him. He's a super person. Yes, you should, Tech Death. You should definitely do that. You should practice and come on live with me tomorrow after the press conference. Hey, Digital. Good to see you. Don't kid yourself. That guy's a lot stronger than he looks. Let's see. Yes, I did hit the magic mouse. I did. The press conference is at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it'll be 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, guys. Michelle, you're fine. You're so fine. Thanks, Mandy Ray. Thank you, you guys. Kagan Klein has never been implicated in the Delphi murders, ever. He's been interrogated about them. He took a polygraph about them, but law enforcement has never come out and implicated him or charged him in any way, shape, or form, nor have they done that with his father. You have your moose on your laptop. You have your moose on your lap. Michelle, that's quite a photograph there. A picture in my head. True crime housewife? I don't know. I mean, I could be wrong, but I do believe that it's very possible that they've had a grand jury seated for Delphi. That's what I'm thinking is very possible. And Spirit of the Pigeon says no moose lap driving. And there is so much in such a short. Hey, Deb, how are you? So good to see you. Yes, Heaven 57. Dick is another name for Richard. He did go by Ricky, though. He goes by Rick or Ricky. Yes, Lynn, I totally agree. They need to focus on getting justice for Libby and Abby, not help the defense, and most definitely not do things to hurt the family. There's a lot of things right now. How do you think the family feels if they've been told that Bridge Guy's been arrested and everybody on social media is calling law enforcement liars and basically saying the family doesn't know what they're talking about? That hurts them. It's so sad. Hey, Christy Lynn Snow, how are you? Thank you so much, and welcome to the doors. We're so happy to have you here. Yes, Crimezilla, we don't have hardly any of the facts in this case. We have a lot of supposition. We have a lot of rumor, a lot of speculation. Over the years, there's been so many things put out there and then repeated and repeated that they've become fact. We know so little. Law enforcement knows everything. They know everything. And I'm tired of true crime creators pretending like they know more than law enforcement. Podcasters, I don't care who they are. I'm tired of it. I have had it up to here with this case, and people pretending like they know better than the professionals. My hat goes off to those investigators and those detectives that have worked countless hours on this case. I mean, there has been so many hours. These guys have not slept. They've been away from their families. I guarantee you that when we were all thinking they were just, man, what are they doing? Why isn't anything happening? Because they were working. They were doing their jobs. And their jobs doesn't mean that you've got to update the public on what you're doing. Not in a double homicide, when you still have a killer walking the streets. This isn't just something done in haste or with proof. We always knew it was very likely wasn't a well-discussed POI, that it could be someone not so obvious. Law enforcement would not jeopardize the case. No, they are not going to do anything. This is the biggest case in Indiana history. I guarantee you, and they are not going to do anything to screw it up. They've been working really hard. Well, a spooky good evening to you, Paris. How are you, my dear? It's so good to see you. Candy Girl, thank you so much. I really try. I'm not perfect. I've never claimed to be perfect. I make mistakes. And you guys, I've told you from day one, if you hear me say or report something that's not true, and you can show that to me somewhere as factual in a whether it be in a article or somewhere factual, I will certainly recant whatever it is and fix it because I am all about the facts. I want people to be able to come here and know that they're going to get as much of the truth as possible, as well as I know it. Exactly, Lynn. I'm sure that they are. Like I said, I can't even imagine. I've watched some of the interviews that HLN has done. Barbara McDonald is in Delphi right now, and she has been doing some interviews with locals. She's also done some interviews with the families, family members, but I don't think they're showing those right now. I know they've talked to Anna. I know Fox 59 talked to her yesterday. Becky was on Randy's walk yesterday. She went out there. Randy Gravitz had his walk that he does in the fall for the girls. And Becky was supposed to meet him out there to give them wristbands for everybody that came. Well, when she got there, she came with Cody and his wife, and she decided to stay and do the walk with them. And Becky hadn't been out there for years. I think over 4 years, as a matter of fact. And it was very hard for her. But they told her that they would have her back, that they were all there for her. And that, she said it was time for her to take back her power and take back her place to be able to be there. And to not let him have that power over her anymore. And so she did it. And I know it was quite emotional for everyone who was there. Randy live streamed a little bit of it. I'm sure if you check out Randy Gravitz's channel, you would be able to see some of it. I know HCC went live a little bit from it, but not for very long. But they had a beautiful day. It was a good turnout. And like I said, I am so, so happy that Becky was able to go. Hey, Diana Blake. The 4/22/19 presser, we were told one person is talking and that person is the killer. Exactly. We were also told by excuse me, by Kim Riley early on when Michael Catt interviewed him. If you recall, it was right before they made the trip to Colorado to interview Daniel Nations. Michael Catt interviewed him. And Kim Riley said, it appears at this time that this person has not committed a crime. So he wasn't in any of their crime databases for violent crime of any kind. And that looks to be true. It looks that he does not have any criminal history like that. He's had traffic tickets, I think. Boy, baby bear, you haven't said that. You can say that again. 6 degrees of separation is very creepy. John, thank you so much for your super chat. I so appreciate you. I appreciate all you do for me. And Paris, thank you so much for your birthday wish. I appreciate you so much for being here. Thank you. Thank you. You guys are so kind. I couldn't do this without all of you, just so you know. I have never said that it was Ron Logan. So I don't know where you're coming up with that. Marge Bunn. I have never said that it was Ron Logan, ever. You know, I don't know, Heaven. It's possible that this is not the first crime this person has committed. We're just going to have to wait and see. All of that will come out, I'm sure. I guarantee you that they are looking at him for all kinds of things, and seeing where he's been. He seems to like to take vacations and go to trails and walk trails. There's pictures of him on Facebook with in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and other places. I'm sure that they'll be looking at all those areas to see if there's any crimes in those areas. It's just what law enforcement does. I think more and more, Nighthawk, that it's very possible that they did get him with DNA. But again, we don't know. But it is possible. It's very possible. Jack Green is right. Law enforcement has had some of the best investigative minds involved from the beginning. Absolutely. Guaranteed that is the truth. You're okay, Michelle. Thank you. And that's the truth, Carrie. You know, that's, I think, what's so scary about all of this. If you guys remember a couple of lives ago when I had HCC on with me, Hoosier Cold Cases, we were talking about the different types of killers and the different types of serial killers and how you don't really know a person. And a lot of times when these serial killers are married and have families, their significant others and their children have no idea about what they may or may not be doing. They are very, very good at hiding what they do because they lack the emotion. And I know that there's a rumor out there that he went to some rehab or some mental thing after the murders. We don't know that. It's not been confirmed. But if that's the case, I still don't see him going there for those reasons. I see him doing that purposefully to get himself out of the public eye right after the murder. That's what I see him doing it for. Not for true treatment. Hey, This'll do nicely. So good to see you. Welcome. I thought about that too, Spirit, because we were talking about how close, not only how close he lives to the bridge, but how close he lived to Abby. He was just catty corner down the street from Abby. So if he did take a daily walk on the trails and he went that way, he could have seen Abby and Libby a lot whenever they were together at her house, for sure. Not to mention he lives so close to the school. So, I mean, if he was going to softball games or sporting events or whatever, he could have seen them there as well. There's just all kinds of possibilities. Yeah, Doug Carter, don't be late. Hey, Steve. Welcome, my dear. How are you this evening? So good to have you with me. He seems to have way more money than a farm tech would have. Well, all I can say to that is you don't know if his wife has family money or if he did. Maybe he came into an inheritance of some kind. They're saying that he paid cash for the house that they live in. That's kind of odd. You don't usually see people do that. But yeah, we don't know. We just don't know the answers to these questions yet. But it will be interesting to see. Melissa, thank you so much for your birthday super chat. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Heaven, you are so right. Psychopaths are very scary. They're very scary because they have no emotion and they can just walk among us and we don't know it until something bad happens. And I was telling somebody else earlier today that I was having a conversation with. This reminds me a lot of Ted Bundy, because just before I came on live at 7:15, Wish TV came out and said that he is not, per a source, he is not cooperating with law enforcement. If that's true, it reminds me of Ted Bundy, because Ted Bundy didn't cooperate with law enforcement either. Not until very, very, very late in the game, before he was going to be executed. He started talking because he was hoping to postpone his execution. But up until that point, he wasn't helping law enforcement either. I just think it's funny because these guys, like I said, this guy is bold. We knew this. Bold. He's not only hiding in plain sight, but he's willing to go out in public and have drinks and do whatever and sit in front of a poster with his face on it. A wanted poster for a double homicide of children. That speaks volumes to who he is as a person. Yeah, John. Also, I believe myself, I was able to go through those Facebook pictures before the family took their Facebooks down. And from what True Crime Maria and I were able to look at, I don't believe that those photos of the High Bridge and his daughter were taken in 2018. I do believe that they were taken earlier than that for her high school graduation. But her mom posted them in 2018. She posted a whole bunch of pictures, like a picture dump, the wedding, that picture, a whole bunch of different ones. And they are saying that there were no posts in 2017. So maybe that's why she did that in 2018. She was just catching up with all the things that had happened. Exactly. Today going forward is what matters. We don't need to rehash POIs. We don't need to look back on what ifs and whys did this not happen. This is, to me, today is the day, and now we move forward, and it goes to the penalty phase, to the justice phase, to the court phase. What do we believe that the prosecutor will ask for the punishment of this crime? What are they? How long do we think that the trial will last? How soon will the trial get to court? You know, those are all kinds of things. He can actually ask for a speedy trial, and within 60 days, the prosecution has to be prepared. So, I mean, there are a lot of things that are at play here. Wouldn't that be crazy if he did that and they were prosecuting him and Kagan at the same time? That would be frightful. Some of my family members suffer from psychosis, and some are sociopaths in prison. It is impossible to reason with their rationality. It's very frustrating. Yes, most definitely. And that is so true. Hey, Mr. Steve. Paris said, hello, you had a great show tonight. I'm sorry I missed it, but I will catch up on it tonight on replay, I promise. Yes, Candy, I know she is. I already hit her once. She comes back, I will kick her. But thank you for letting me know. If you guys see Marge Bunn, please block her and kick her forever. Thank you. Let's see. Lisa asked, do you think if he is guilty of this, that the killer has done this before and got away with it? Or do you think Libby and Abby were his first? It's very hard to say. I don't have enough information to know that. I think that will come out in the case. I think we'll find those answers out. Because they're going to dive deep into this guy's past. They're going to dive into him as a child, all of it. They're going to find out what may have led to this. And especially if he's not cooperating and talking, they've got to try to figure out, why did he do this? His eyes bothered me. The first picture that was sent to me of him, when I looked at that photo, I was just like, man, his eyes look dead. It's just like there's just nothing, just like blank, dark blankness. Yeah, that's what I saw about his eyes. Yeah, David, I don't know about his family and the wealthy or holding important offices. I don't. Oh, yeah, Carrie, that's for sure. I mean, there's posters and pictures of Bridge Guy all over Delphi, inside the businesses and out. And they've been there for 5.5 years. So, he saw it. He did. Yeah, I think that is, but you have to remember, if she didn't know any of what he was doing, she would not have thought anything of it. They take bridge photos for high school graduation pictures in Delphi all the time. It was not uncommon to have your high school senior pictures taken at that bridge. John, if you still see this Marge Bunn, can you please kick her for me? Yeah, that was one of the things that I noticed right away when I started looking at the wife's social media. She had so many pictures of him, and there was he changed his looks almost immediately after the girls. He gained an enormous amount of weight between now and then, or then and now, I mean. He basically shaved his head down to nothing. He didn't shave it completely, but it was so short it might as well have been. And then he grew that really long goatee. When you look at him and you look at the picture that they posted from 2017, when he actually looks like old Bridge Guy sketch, it's hard to imagine it's the same person. Thoughts on the river search? Anyone? Do you think we'll ever know more about it? Yes, I do think that we will learn something. We're going to learn if this search was related to CSAM only in the Kagan Klein trial, or we're going to learn if it is related to Delphi. I believe that it could be either or both. Hi, Molly. If I didn't tell you hello already, I think my chat is very slow on StreamYard tonight, so I'm sorry. My heart swells for the family because I know what they're going through. My brother was unlived March 15th, 1995. Candy Girl, I'm so very sorry. I'll never forget that day and felt like my world was ending. Of course you would. You would feel like nothing is ever going to be the same. And you have to also remember, you guys, his family feels the same way. Their world has exploded, completely turned upside down and exploded on them. His family, his loved ones are his latest victims. And that's possible that they did find something that he took from the girls and verified it with the girls' families. It's very possible. Hi, just wondering how the phone data analysis took this long. It's not like there was that many people near the bridge that day. I'm not sure what you mean by the phone data analysis. I'm sure that analysis has been done for a long time. I agree with you. The cops did do an amazing job keeping this case clean, even with all the trolls trying to make that not happen. Because one of the things that I thought about with this case was all of the stuff that we've heard that were rumors that aren't true. Look at all the Lee Kerr stuff, all that kind of stuff that came out that people were so, hung on to. And I mean, just look at all that stuff. There's a lot, you guys. I love that. I'd like to put this on a bumper sticker. And actually, Tor, they were on Fox 59 in front of the courthouse in Delphi yesterday, so not so sure that that's true. They're still trying to get some more. Hi, Melissa. Thank you so much for your super chat. Does anyone know if RA was employed anywhere when this happened? I've not had that confirmed as to where or if he was still working at CVS. I believe that he may have still been working at CVS. He did not get his pharmaceutical technician license until February of 2018. He still very well could have been working at CVS in management. because they said that he was, for a while, they know that he worked at the Peru CVS because he was transferred there for a while as a manager. I've heard that as well. I'm sure that all of that will come out as to what his jobs were, where he was working, where he wasn't working, that kind of stuff. Oh, thank you so much. I'm so happy to have you here, and thank you for your birthday wishes. It's the truth. You know, all those people, all those creators, all those commenters that were throwing Cody, Mike, Becky, Kelsey, and Anna under the bus and saying absolutely horrific things about them. I hope they all go crawl back under their rocks. They don't belong in the true crime arena. And I guarantee you, you're not going to have them apologize. They won't be sending out apologies anytime soon. Hello, Lewis. How are you? Good to see you. Yeah, I do too. I remember that too, True Crime Housewife. Yes, this is most definitely a possible death penalty case. We'll just have to wait and see. The families will be talked to about that before that decision is made. Yolanda, I think we're going to find that out. More than likely he had a gun, but we don't know that, and we'll find that out. Hey, Sees Through, how are you? I think if arrest confirmed for murder tomorrow, everyone should stop talking about the case. It can only help the defense by creating reasonable doubt by talking. And I do agree partly with that. I think that there can be good coverage of the case as long as we talk about only things that are released about the case by law enforcement. Hi, Goat Dog. What's pretty interesting is if you go back to the transcripts, Kagan Klein asked the girl if she would get with a 43-year-old. Tony Klein wasn't 43, he was 46, but Richard Allen was 43. I think Kagan Klein and RA shared the Anthony Schatz account. That is very possible. Very, very possible. Again, we just don't know. We'll find out. We just don't know yet. Crimezilla is absolutely right. These families are going to have to endure hell for the next couple of years, and we need to support them. If you think the trolls are gone and they're going to stop trolling the family and treating the family like garbage, then you've not been paying attention to true crime, because that's not what happens. And it's sad. I mean, it is so absolutely sad. There's rumors going around that Murder Sheet was trying to get to Rick Allen's daughter or Rick Allen's father for comment, and the man had to literally run away from them. That's just ridiculous. It's horrific. They should not be bothering his family in any way, shape, or form. Nobody should. Yes, Indiana has the death penalty, Colleen. I have had it with most true crime casters, creators. I learned to stick to professionals and highly respectful, fact-based reports now. The list is shrinking. I'm right there with you. I am absolutely right there with you. I am very careful about who I watch and who I listen to. Hey, Molly, I think law enforcement has gathered every single last thing and put this case together super tight before the arrest, especially because this guy was not on the public's radar. I could not agree more. I know a lot of people are like, well, did this guy just come up on their radar? He could have been on their radar from 2017. We just don't know yet. There's a lot of things that Doug Carter has said that fits this guy, as far as I'm concerned. So I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. Hi, Kiwi. You're so welcome. It's the only way that I can be. I'm not any other type of person, but this type of person. And I don't. For those of you who are new here, I just want to let you know that I lost a child at the age of 4 to cancer. I know what it's like to bury my son. I know his case was high profile. He was in the news all the time. He was in the newspapers all the time. And people were always reaching out with advice and things that we should try, and all of these diets that we should put him on, and just all kinds of things people would do and say. And it was hard enough for us to go through that as a family for 10 months. I can't even imagine at all to go through what Anna and the Germans have, and the Patties have gone through with what's gone on these last almost nearly 6 years. It's just unbearable to me. And it's what led me to this case. When I heard of the girls and I heard they were missing, and then that they were found deceased, it broke my heart for a number of reasons, but it reminded me of me and my best friend at that age, because we were always doing those sorts of things and we were always out together alone. And I knew that it could easily have been us. And it just hit home with me. And then the more that I found out about the families, I just realized that, this case became very special and dear to me. I wanted justice. I wanted to see the girls get justice. And then the more I got into it and the more I saw creators and social media people mistreat the families and just say horrible things about them, it just angered me. I started my Reddit sub in August of 2020. And I was like, this is what I have to do. Sorry, I'm so behind on my dates. August of 2021, I started my own Reddit sub, Delphi's Daughters. And I was chastised when I started it because I laid down strict ground rules. I told everyone that I was not going to put up with family bashing. So I got a reputation on Reddit for being a real hard ass, and I don't care. I don't. Not when it comes to the families. Hey, Yorkie, congratulations on being a member for 4 months. Thank you, Jennifer, for letting me know. I appreciate that so much. Thank you, John. Tor, thank you so much. Paula, thank you for the happy birthday wishes, and welcome to my channel. And please stay as long as you like. We love new subscribers, and the more the merrier. As long as you follow the channel rules, you will find this to be a wonderful place to chat. There's no drama here. We just talk about the facts. Any opinions on Doug Carter saying no deals a few weeks ago and the possibility that they won't plead down this case from the DP? Pros doesn't have to. From the DP. I'm not sure, Molly, what you're asking. As far as Doug Carter supposedly flew to Peru to meet with the prosecutor on the CSAM case for Kagan and said there would be no deals. I have trouble with that because Doug Carter has no right to say that to a prosecutor. They have no authority over a prosecutor. Now, he could certainly ask that they have no plea deals, but he can't demand it. He can't demand anything as it was presented to us. You know, Becky was a warrior, Purdue. I'm so glad you were with her. I am so glad you were out there. And I heard that you guys were out there. So I'm really glad that you were all with her. I'm sure there will be YouTubers that stream it. I'm not going to. I would like to be able to watch it and listen to it and take notes. I will be going live immediately after it. That is my plan at this point. Thank you, Molly. True Crime Housewives says, we went for the walk for the first time and boom, this all broke while we were there. I met Becky and gave her a hug. I had hoped for years that I would be able to hug her tight. Awesome. That is awesome. Hey, Hoosier, how are you? So good to see you. And yes, she can sleep now knowing that he will never walk that path again. And most importantly, he won't be able to hurt any more children. Yes, the death penalty has been active in Indiana for quite some time. SD says the monster is no longer a mysterious boogeyman. He's a short coward. Judy Holiday says, I remember that the US Marshals was involved with the Josh Duggar pedophile case. It makes me wonder if they're involved with Bridge Guy due to the Anthony Shots pedophile ring. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit as to what would be the reasons why they were there. And if you guys remember, Doug Carter told us in February when he did his interviews around the 5-year anniversary, he told us why the US Marshals were being utilized and that they were being utilized. Yes, it's on the court document. The listing in my case shows an alias. I don't know anything beyond that, just the name. Hey, Louisa, how are you, my dear? Welcome. Oh, and SD, thank you so much. You're so kind. I believe that they have DNA. That's the only way they would be able to justify the $20 million bail. I think that we're going to find out a lot. I hope that you're right, and I do hope they have DNA. Hi, Yolanda. I don't think that any of us can imagine that, my dear. I feel bad for what those girls had to go through. Absolutely. But They were both heroes in my eyes. Hi, old soul. Welcome. Yeah, it would be interesting. I don't think so, but I wish that whoever is responsible for Evansdale will quickly become on the radar for law enforcement as well. Those girls definitely deserve justice. It's been far too long for Lyric and Elizabeth. Yes, SD, that is correct. I do not. I think they did that on purpose, the phrase in connection with, and there may be more people involved as well, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. We just have to wait and see, okay? So just be patient. Hey, Kathy Y. Thank you so much for your super chat. Hello from Brisbane, Australia. Thank you for your thoughtful and rational channel. Are you feeling more confident that a grand jury has been sitting? Yes, I do feel confident. And I could be completely wrong, you guys, but I do feel confident that there may very well have been a grand jury seated. Hey, Charlie, how are you? So good to see you as always. Hey, Carrie, how are you? I heard that they were there this week and dug up his backyard. And they took him in for questioning on Wednesday, and they arrested him on Friday. Oh, SD, I hope you're right. I hope they did find forensics at his house. One of the things that I will say is this. I was talking to Skip earlier today, and one of the things that he and I were discussing was DNA and the possibility of DNA. You know, everybody talks about the fact that they may not have gotten DNA from the crime scene of him, but what if they were able to find the DNA from the girls at his place of residence? What if they were able to find Abby and Libby's DNA at his house? That's it, you guys, because that is really damning. And how would you ever be able to explain that? Hey, Rose, how are you? Good to see you. Spirit of the Pigeon says some people look crazy who are not crazy. That is why it is so important to have law enforcement that uses updated scientific methods, and they have done a stellar job. That is the truth. Absolutely, that is the truth. He lived with himself for almost 6 years, Yolanda, because he doesn't have the same emotions that we have. In fact, he has no emotions. And he's able to compartmentalize his two lives. No, I did not, Mandy. What I did was we talked about a month ago about Ron Logan, and I brought up the search warrant, brought up what was out there in social media about the girlfriend's testimony. of his abusive nature. And I said anything is possible, but that I did not feel Ron Logan could have been a suspect. I've never felt Ron Logan was a suspect in this case, ever. He just did not hit and check all the boxes for me. I think, if anything, Ron Logan was used as a patsy. I know, Hoosier, I cannot stop thinking about his family and what this has done to them and how their lives have just been imploded. It's just awful. Joan says, I think it did come out of nowhere. It was a small incident that probably has happened too often. I think the fact Carter and Lesenby were both away says this came out of nowhere. I don't think it came out of nowhere. I think what may have came out of nowhere is they got the confirmation that they've been waiting for, and they didn't want to wait and give a person a chance to flee. Carter's back in town. All's good. All's well in the world. Yeah, their cat, which absolutely beautiful, beautiful black and white tuxedo cat with long hair. I mean, just a beautiful cat. If that is the case, I had never even considered cat hair, and I'm a cat person. I mean, I'm a dog person too, but I just can't even, I would never even was considering cat hair, you guys, when we were talking about pet hair. And yeah, they most definitely could have been looking for cat hair, but that would not be back. I do not believe that that comparison would be back yet. Oh, I'm sure he was shaking in his boots when they came to search the property. Cool, Lewis. Happy birthday to your dad. They're destroying them everywhere. They're destroying them on Reddit. They're destroying them everywhere. So it doesn't surprise me at all. I just hope people don't drive to Delphi and try to park and camp outside his house and protest. It's horrible. Or his daughters, for that matter, because she lives very close as well. And that's one of the things that bothers me, Goat Dog. I also believe KK was there. The how long does DNA last question search is a smoking gun. And the fact that the RA and 43 and KK specifically asked a teenage girl if she could get with a 43-year-old is too much. I agree with you. I think that that is highly, highly possible. The DNA question will always bother me. Because I couldn't understand why somebody would be just randomly searching for that immediately after murders. Please do not bash any of RA's family members. Give their names, their schools, their workplaces, addresses, or any other personal details. They are not charged. They are victims in this situation. I don't know. I think it's quite possible that he was involved, but we don't know. And I don't want to say for certain because I just don't know. I think that these kinds of questions are things that we are going to have to wait patiently for the answers to. Just looking at the chat, you guys, to make sure I'm getting all of you guys. Judy Holiday says, I will be at work during the presser, and I have figured out the way I'm going to watch the presser without getting caught. Judy, you be careful. It's not worth losing your job over. We'll be here for you when it's over to give you all the inside information. Oh, Melissa, thank you so much. Well, I love having you here, so thank you. I can't imagine what he must have thought when he saw the video come out that Libby took of him. Incredible. Yeah, that I think bothers me so bad, Heaven, that to think that he watched the whole community suffer from the murders and watch the families every day from his job. Like I said, he lived so close to Anna, it's not even funny. So I believe his daughter is 27 right now. So she's older than the girls. I think she would have been what, 21 at the time of the murders? Yeah, Judy, I was thinking that too, that they may have to request a change of venue in order to sit a jury. We'll just have to wait and see. Yeah, Molly, he's entitled to a quick defense. So he's entitled to a quick and speedy trial. So unless for some reason he doesn't want one, and I guarantee you the prosecution's not going to let him drag it out too far. It will be interesting to see how long it takes. There's a lot in the case, I'm sure. I'm guaranteeing you that law enforcement did everything right. They did not do this on a whim. This was not something that was not well thought out, planned. I think that they were waiting for that last piece and they got it. Yeah, I don't know that he necessarily risked anyone seeing him. I think he walked home. Myself, I bet you anything he walked right home from the crime. Yeah, Sandra, that you can definitely guarantee his DNA has been entered into the database now. No kidding. Dakshay, I so agree with you. It is so hard to wrap your head around that he could carry on and do his work and do his job as if nothing ever happened. Just go on with about your life. It's really crazy. The Kelsey has already said that she will talk tomorrow. They will speak tomorrow after the press conference. So Kelsey has already tweeted that. Very possible, Sierra. Very possible. And I definitely think they have been watching him for a while. Very possible, Melissa. The death penalty is a thing in Indiana. It's going to depend on what the family wants. They will talk. The prosecution will talk to both families to find out what the families would like as the penalty in this case. John Douglas is amazing, and John Douglas is going to speak out, I'm sure, about this case. So I'm anxious to hear what he has to say. Mrs. Thing, I don't think he can. That's just my opinion. I don't think that they can get a fair trial for him in Carroll County. But we'll just have to see what happens. Thank you, Lisa Marie. So welcome for the super sticker. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. He supposedly spent $142,000 in cash, Danielle, for his house. He paid it in cash. He lived in Denver, Indiana. He lived in Peru, Indiana, Greenwood, Indiana, and also in Delphi. Hey, Olivia, how are you? Good to see you. Yeah, SD, isn't that something how close it was to his home? Hi, USA Libertarian. Good to see you. Where I live, they have graduation and wedding pictures, etc. on train tracks here all the time. Yeah, it's very common. The High Bridge was used for that. Thanks, Molly. No, I think I'm just really, really behind in my chat. Hey, Salty Beach. Hey, Jennifer. The cell phone was recovered. It was somewhere near the bodies. I know that there are no posts but one from 2017 on that Facebook before it was removed. Who knows why? We do not know why. Asking if someone like that has two total different personalities, maybe snaps from normal to a monster. Is he faking the nice and kind persona, being deceitful and awful all the time? I think no. This person has been described by locals already as being very nice, kind, and helpful at his job. They never would have ever imagined this person being Bridge Guy. So I don't think it's two personalities. I think that it is a psychopath or sociopath who is able to compartmentalize their two lives, the two parts of them, the murderer and the family man, normal guy. but it's not different personalities per se. BTK described it as flipping a switch. Lynn, thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for the birthday wishes. I appreciate it, you guys. Hi, Lipsha. How are you? Yes, Danielle, that's what I noticed about him. He looks completely different from picture to picture, like 4 different people. The hooded eyes, though, and the nose are spot on in the sketch, though, in my opinion. Oh, yeah. I absolutely, in both sketches, see him. And it's exactly like Doug Carter told us it was going to be. If you put the 2 sketches on top of each other, it's him. I mean, it's him. You can see it. I have no doubt. Oh, I agree, Jack. I think he probably walked that trail and that bridge a lot. I firmly do. Hey, the Rockaways. Very happy to see you streaming tonight, Kristen. I think we have to prepare for tomorrow morning, leaving many questions unanswered for now. And I absolutely agree. We need to be patient and we need to stick to keeping things tight and close, as GonZo would tell us. We got to keep things tight. We don't want to go off and start hollering and yelling and putting out all this speculation about this man, because we don't want to do anything to mess up their case. And Michelle, I think that is absolutely true. And you know why I think that is true? Why he didn't, or why he didn't feel he could? It's because of all of us. Because all of social media was constantly throwing his picture out everywhere. We were constantly sharing Bridge Guy's photos everywhere. And I don't think he felt comfortable. That's just my opinion. I think we are the reason. We wouldn't let it go. We were like dogs with a bone. Yes, he did destroy his entire family, friends, coworkers, former coworkers, anybody who had anything to do with this man and thought of him as a friend, and his customers and the patients that came there to get their prescriptions. These people will all be feeling and reeling from this. Rockaway says, I think even the murder sheets looks a little silly right now. All this was happening under their noses, and on the big day, they were running around town looking for info. I think it's hilarious. Myself, and all I can say is I've always taken everything they said with a grain of salt. I never bought their whole source information, and I still don't to this day. I think that they had an agenda and they were trying to build a podcast, and they've done a really good job of doing that. I don't know for sure, but at this point in time, I do not believe this was random. So yes, I would believe they were targeted. Well, if you guys remember regarding this part, if you remember when, and pardon me for not remembering his name, but the FBI agent in the first Delphi presser up on the stage, when they were all up on the stage in those early days, he came up to the podium and he talked to everybody and he said, please pay attention to anyone who changes their appearance drastically or changes their behavior, begins to drink or abuse alcohol or drugs, who can't explain where they were that day or cancels an appointment. I mean, all of those things. And you have to know that he changed his appearance as drastically as fast as he could. And I think once it was bad enough when the picture and the photo of him on the bridge came out, but when they released that video of him in 2019, that man really, really had to feel some heat and pressure on him, because he knew people were going to know that was him up there walking on that bridge. He had to have known that. And so he started to change his appearance even more drastically. He gained a ton of weight. Have you seen his pictures from 2021 December? I mean, a ton. Gail says he did work at CVS. He waited on her 2 weeks ago. Thank you, Gail, for sharing that with us. Yes, the reward was $325,000. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. I don't know if it was, if there's any truth to it was closed. I heard that he was arrested at work. Yes. So I don't know. I'm not positive. That's what I've heard. Yeah, Tech Death. It was my mouse. It was my mouse. So, Kirk, the only thing I can tell you is that Abby and Libby were extremely smart and intelligent young women. They were destined to do great things in this world. Libby was taking classes at Purdue. She wasn't even in high school yet. They both had an interest in true crime. And I believe something led Libby to believe that this guy was not a good guy. And it bothered her, creeped her out. And I think she started recording him. She held the phone down along her leg for as long as she could. And that's why the video of him is kind of weird, because of how she was taking it. And then I think she put the phone in her pocket and it was still recording. And they got sound, but they don't have any more video. I kind of told you guys, we talked about these kinds of murderers and these kinds of offenders for months now. And I explained to you, I've read to you so many different studies about them. And one of the things that you have to remember is that, yes, technically they're monsters, but technically they're not. They're just the guy next door, you guys. They don't have monster tattooed on their foreheads. You know, they just are just normal guys, and they go along and walk along next to you, and it's very hard to tell who they are. You know, Lipsha, I was thinking about that too. Robin Williams plays the guy in 1 Hour Photo, and that was the most chilling movie. And to see him play that part, because he's always such a comedian and so funny, man, what a scary, scary movie. Thank you, Molly. You're so sweet. Yeah, it's something else. I'm telling you, that magic mouse is. They notoriously, they take these kinds of criminals in where they think there's going to be the least possibility for them to have a standoff or try to run or cause some sort of incident where there would be substantial loss to law enforcement or to the public or innocent people. So that's why I think they went to work, because they figured he would be less likely to have a gun, and he would be more likely to just go quietly. So one of the things I was going to tell you guys tonight real quick was about the US Marshals Service. I've had so many people messaging me, texting me, and asking me this question. Why would the US Marshals Service be there tomorrow? Doug Carter told us in February that he was utilizing the US Marshal Service in this investigation. The US Marshal Service is utilized a lot more for a lot more things than they used to be. But the number one thing, hold on one second, that they are utilized, for just a little bit of backstory, the U.S. Marshal Service was the first federal law enforcement agency in this country. Federal marshals have served this country since 1789, and they were often in unseen but critical ways. The Marshal Service occupies a uniquely central position in the federal justice system. It is the enforcement arm of the federal courts, involved in virtually every federal law enforcement initiative. The presidents appoint U.S. Marshals, one for each federal judicial district, and they direct the activities of 94 districts. There's approximately 3,561 U.S. Marshals and criminal investigators form the backbone of this agency. And the duties of the U.S. Marshals Service include protecting the federal judiciary, apprehending federal fugitives, managing and selling seized assets acquired by criminals through illegal activities, housing and transporting federal prisoners, and operating the witness security program, among other things. The U.S. Marshal Service is responsible for protecting the federal judicial process. The agency is empowered by statute to protect federal judges, other court officials, witnesses, jurors, the visiting public, prisoners, and other threatened persons. Danielle K, thank you so much for your super chat. I appreciate it very, very much. Thank you. Criminal investigators, intelligence analysts, and other marshals personally assess, investigate, and mitigate threats against the judiciary 24/7. The agency oversees the daily operation and management of security services performed by approximately 5,700 court security officers within the 94 U.S. district courts and 12 circuits of the U.S. Courts of Appeal. As the security frontline court security officers, they screen visitors at public building and federal building entrances and handle other security duties. They also apprehend fugitives. The U.S. Marshal Service is the federal government's primary agency for fugitive investigations. The Marshals have the broadest arrest authority among federal law enforcement agencies. And the Marshals provide assistance. This is the big one. This is where this plays into us, you guys. The Marshals provide assistance to state and local agencies in locating and apprehending their most violent fugitives. So they helped because of the crime, the double murder, the double homicide of 2 children. And that's why they were being utilized in this investigation. The Marshals arrest on average 337 fugitives every day. The U.S. Marshals Task Force combine the efforts of federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies to locate and arrest the most dangerous of fugitives. Task Force officers are state and local police officers who receive special deputations with the Marshals Service. While on a task force, these officers can exercise U.S. Marshal authorities, such as crossing jurisdictional lines, so that we know that there's a task force for Abby and Libby and for Delphi. So there are U.S. Marshals that have been special deputations on that task force to be able to operate as a U.S. Marshal. The U.S. Marshals 15 Most Wanted fugitive program draws attention to some of the country's most dangerous and high-profile fugitives. These fugitives tend to be career criminals with histories of violence, and they pose a significant threat to public safety. They also work with the international law enforcement community to apprehend fugitives abroad. They do asset forfeiture, which is their mission is to use asset forfeiture as a tool to detour, disrupt, and dismantle criminal enterprises by depriving criminals of the instruments of illicit activity. The U.S. Marshal Service serves as the primary custodian for any seized property of the program. And the Marshals identify and evaluate assets and manage and dispose of the majority of the property seized for forfeiture. They do prisoner operations. They oversee all detention management matters for individuals remanded to U.S. Marshal custody. The Marshals provide safe and secure and humane custody, housing, medical care, and transportation for federal prisoners throughout the United States and its territories. They also operate their own detention centers and own detention facilities, but they partner with state and local governments using intergovernmental agreements to house prisoners. And additionally, the agency houses prisoners in the Federal Bureau of Prisons facilities and private detention facilities as well. They also do prisoner movements that take place for a variety of reasons, such as to testify at trial, serve a sentence at a facility, or transfer between institutions. Prisoners are also moved for pretrial hearings, competency examinations, medical studies, and observations. I do believe that it's very possible that U.S. Marshals moved him from Delphi to White County, which is where he's at. Hey, Melissa, thank you so much for joining. I so appreciate you as a new member. Thank you. They also do witness protection and witness security. The US Marshals Service operates the Federal Witness Security Program, sometimes referred to as Witness Protection Program. And they provide the security, safety, and health of government witnesses and their authorized family members whose lives are in danger as a result of their cooperation with the U.S. government. So that's pretty much what the U.S. Marshals Service does, and I wanted you guys to get an overview of that. So I wanted you to kind of have a feeling of what that was about. I wanted to share one more thing with you tonight before we go. And I know that I told you that this was going to be a Halloween show as well. And it's not going to be like a Halloween show like I had envisioned, because I didn't envision all of this to blow up with Delphi this weekend. I was actually going to and do a spooky game night, but that didn't work. So I do apologize for that, you guys. But I did want to give you a little bit of a history of Halloween. Obviously, you guys know that Halloween is my birthday. I absolutely love the holiday. I've loved it since I was a small child. There was nothing like being able to dress up and go trick-or-treating and have a birthday party at school, a Halloween party at school, come home, have my favorite meal made by my mother, get dressed up again, and go out trick-or-treating with my siblings and my friends. It was just a great day, and I just love it. I love the whole aspect of it. I like the darkness. I like the witchery and the bats, and I just like it all. So Halloween is a holiday that we celebrate each year on October 31st. And the tradition originated with the ancient Celtic festival, excuse me, of Samhain. The Celts, who lived 2,000 years ago, mostly in the area that is now Ireland, the United Kingdom, and northern France, celebrated their new year on November 1st. This day marked the end of summer and the harvest and the beginning of the dark, cold winter, a time of year that was often associated with human death. The Celts or Celts believed that on the night before the new year, the boundary between the worlds of the living and the dead became blurred. And on the night of October 31st, they celebrated Samhain, when it was believed that the ghosts of the dead would return to Earth. In addition to causing trouble and damaging crops, Celts thought that the presence of their otherworldly spirits made it easier for the Druids or Celtic priests to make predictions about the future. For a people entirely dependent on the volatile natural world, these prophecies were an unimportant source of comfort during the long, dark winter. To commemorate the event, Druids built huge sacred bonfires where the people gathered to burn crops and animals as sacrifices to the Celtic deities. During the celebration, the Celts wore costumes, typically consisting of animal heads and skins, and attempted to tell each other's fortunes. When the celebration was over, they relit their hearth fires, which they had extinguished earlier that evening, from the sacred bonfire to help protect them during the coming winter. Did you guys know that 1/4 of all candy sold in the United States annually is purchased for Halloween? By AD 43, the Roman Empire had conquered the majority of Celtic territory, and in the course of the 400 years that they ruled, the Celtic lands' two festivals of Roman origin were combined with the traditional Celtic celebration of Samhain. And the first was Feralia Day, a day in late October when the Romans traditionally commemorated the passing of the dead. The second was a day to honor Pomona, the Roman goddess of fruit and trees. The symbol of Pomona is the apple, and the incorporation of this celebration into Soman probably explains their tradition of bobbing for apples that is practiced today on Halloween. All Saints' Day on May 13th, AD 609, Pope Boniface the Fourth dedicated the Pantheon in Rome in honor of all Christian martyrs, and the Catholic Feast of All Martyrs' Day was established in the Western Church. Pope Gregory III later expanded the festival to include all saints as well as all martyrs and moved the observance from May 13th to November 1st. So we have the celebration of Halloween, and then we have All Saints' Day the next day. By the 9th century, the influence of Christianity had spread into the Celtic lands, where it gradually blended with and supplanted older Celtic rites. In AD 1000, the church made November 2nd All Souls' Day, a day to honor the dead. It's widely believed today that the church was attempting to replace the Celtic festival of the dead with a related church-sanctioned holiday. All Souls' Day was celebrated similarly to Snowin, with big bonfires, parades, and dressing up in costumes as saints, angels, and devils. The All Saints' Day celebration was also called All Hallows or All Hallow Mass. From Middle English, All Hallow Messy, meaning All Saints' Day. And the night before it, the traditional night of Samhain in the Celtic religion, began to be called All Hallows' Eve, and eventually Halloween. The celebration of Halloween was extremely limited in colonial New England because of the rigid Protestant belief systems there. Halloween was much more common in Maryland and the southern colonies. As the beliefs and customs of a different European ethnic groups and the American Indians meshed, a distinctly American version of Halloween began to emerge. The first celebrations included play parties, which were public events held to celebrate the harvest. Neighbors would share their stories of the dead and tell each other's fortunes, dance, and sing. Did you know that more people are buying costumes for their pets? Americans spent nearly $500 million on costumes for their pets in 2021, more than double what they spent in 2010. $500 million, you guys. Colonial Halloween festivities also featured the telling of ghost stories and mischief making of all kinds. By the middle of the 19th century, annual autumn festivities were common, but Halloween was not yet celebrated everywhere in the country. In the second half of the 19th century, America was flooded with new immigrants. These new immigrants, especially the millions of Irish fleeing the Irish potato famine, helped to popularize the celebration of Halloween nationally. Borrowing from European traditions, Americans began to dress up in costume and go house to house asking for food or money, a practice that eventually became today's trick-or-treat tradition. Young women believed that on Halloween they could divine the name or appearance of their future husband by doing tricks with yarn, apple parings, or mirrors. In the late 1800s, there was a move in America to mold Halloween into a holiday more about community and neighborly get-togethers than about ghosts, pranks, and witchcraft. At the turn of the century, Halloween parties for both children and adults became the most common way to celebrate the day. Parties focused on games, foods of the season, and festive costumes. Parents were encouraged by newspapers and community leaders to take anything frightening or grotesque out of Halloween celebrations because these efforts, Halloween lost most of its superstitious and religious overtones by the beginning of the 20th century. By the 1920s and 30s, Halloween had become a secular but community-centered holiday with parades and town-wide Halloween parties as the featured entertainment. Despite the best efforts of many schools and communities, vandalism began to plague some celebrations in many communities during this time. And by the 1950s, town leaders had successfully limited vandalism, and Halloween had evolved into a holiday directed mainly at the young. Due to the high numbers of young children during the 50s baby boom, parties moved from town civic centers into the classrooms or homes where they could be more easily accommodated. Between 1920 and 1950, the centuries-old practice of trick-or-treating was also revived. Trick-or-treating was a relatively inexpensive way for an entire community to share the Halloween celebration. In theory, families could also prevent tricks being played on them by providing the neighborhood children with small treats. Thus, a new American tradition was born, and it has continued to grow. Today, Americans spend an estimated $6 billion annually on Halloween, making it the country's second largest commercial holiday after Christmas. Speaking of commercial success, scary Halloween movies have a long history of being box office hits. Classic Halloween movies include the Halloween franchise, based on the 1978 original film directed by John Carpenter and starring Donald Pleasance, Nick Castle, and Jamie Lee Curtis, and Tony Moran. In Halloween, a young boy named Michael Myers murders his 17-year-old sister and is committed to jail, only to escape as a teen on Halloween night and seek out his old home and a new target. A direct sequel to the original Halloween was released in 2018, starring Jamie Lee Curtis and Nick Castle. A sequel to that, Halloween Kills, the 12th film in the Halloween franchise overall, was released in 2021. Considered a classic horror film down to its spooky soundtrack, Halloween inspired other iconic slasher films like Scream, Nightmare on Elm Street, and Friday the 13th. More family-friendly Halloween movies include Hocus Pocus, The Nightmare Before Christmas, Beetlejuice, and It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. The American Halloween tradition of trick-or-treating probably dates back to the early All Souls' Day parades in England. During the festivities, poor citizens would beg for food and families would give them pastries called soul cakes in return for their promise to pray for the family's dead relatives. The distribution of soul cakes was encouraged by the church as a way to replace the ancient practice of leaving food and wine for roaming spirits. The practice, which was referred to as going a-souling, was eventually taken up by children who would visit the houses in their neighborhood and be given ale, food, and money. The tradition of dressing in costume for Halloween has both European and Celtic roots. Hundreds of years ago, winter was an uncertain and frightening time. Food supplies often ran low, and for many, people were afraid of the dark. The shorter days of winter were full of constant worry. On Halloween, when it was believed that ghosts came back to the earthly world, people thought they would encounter ghosts if they left their homes. So to avoid being recognized by these ghosts, people began to wear masks when they left their homes after dark so that ghosts would not mistake them for fellow spirits. On Halloween, to keep ghosts away from their house, people would place bowls of food outside their homes to appease the ghosts and prevent them from attempting to enter. Halloween has always been a holiday filled with mystery, magic, and superstition. It began as a Celtic end-of-summer festival during which people felt especially close to their deceased relatives and friends. For these friendly spirits, they set places at the dinner table, left treats on doorsteps and along the side of the road, and lit candles to help loved ones find their way back to the spirit world. Today's Halloween ghosts are often depicted as far more fearsome and malevolent, and our customs and superstitions are scarier too. We avoid crossing paths with black cats, afraid that they might bring us bad luck. This idea has its roots in the Middle Ages when many people believed that witches avoided detection by turning themselves into black cats. We try not to walk under ladders for the same reason. And this superstition may have come from the ancient Egyptians, who believed that triangles were sacred. It also may have something to do with the fact that walking under a leaning ladder tends to be fairly unsafe. Around Halloween, especially, we try to avoid breaking mirrors, stepping on cracks in the road, or spilling salt. But what about the Halloween traditions and beliefs that today's trick-or-treaters have forgotten all about? Many of these obsolete rituals focused on the future instead of the past and the living instead of the dead. In particular, many had to do with helping young women identify their future husbands and reassuring them that they would someday, with luck, by next Halloween, be married. In 18th century Ireland, a matchmaking cook might bury a ring in her mashed potatoes on Halloween night, hoping to bring true love to the diner who found it. In Scotland, fortune tellers recommended that an eligible young woman name a hazelnut for each of her suitors and then toss the nuts into the fireplace. The nut that burned to ashes rather than popping or exploding, the story went, represented the girl's future husband. In some versions of this legend, the opposite was true. The nut that burned way symbolized a love that would not last. Another tale had it that if a young woman ate a sugary concoction made out of walnuts, hazelnuts, and nutmeg before bed on Halloween night, she would dream about her future husband. Young women tossed apple peels over their shoulders, hoping that the peels would fall on the floor in the shape of their future husband's initials. They tried to learn about their futures by peering at egg yolks floating in a bowl of water, and stood in front of mirrors in darkened rooms holding candles and looking over their shoulders for their husbands' faces. Other rituals were more competitive. At some Halloween parties, the first guest to find a burr on a chestnut hunt would be the first to marry. At others, the first successful apple bobber would be the first down the aisle. Of course, whether we're asking for romantic advice or trying to avoid 7 years of bad luck, each one of these Halloween superstitions relies on the goodwill of the very same spirits whose presence the early Celts felt so keenly. There you go, guys. The history of Halloween. I hope you guys enjoyed all that. It's really interesting when you really start paying attention and realizing what and how Halloween started. I had no idea about some of this stuff. I absolutely didn't. But, it's just, I don't know. It's kind of funny. But that's all I got for you guys tonight. I'm going to hop off here. We've got a long night ahead of us. Everybody's going to be, getting up early in the morning and getting ready for the press conference. I'm going to watch it, and then I'll jump on here live for those of you that will be able just check out. I probably won't even do much of a thumbnail for it announcing it. I'm just going to go live. So make sure you like and subscribe to me and hit the bell so that you get notified when I do go live. That's how you'll be able to know. But yeah, I just think it's interesting, Molly, to figure out sometimes how holidays began and where they came from and stuff like that. So I love it. I get to spend tomorrow with my grandson who's just turned 5, and he is so excited about this holiday. He cannot wait. He is so pumped for this holiday. And I saw him today and he's like, I get to sing happy birthday to you. So I'm really excited about it. You guys, thank you so much for sticking with me, and thank you for all of you for being here. I so appreciate each and every one of you. And to all of my mods, he's going as Luke from Zelda. If you guys know the Nintendo game Zelda, that's his favorite game, and he's going as the character Luke. So he's got a big shield, he's got a big sword. He looks super cute. He's really cute when he's dressed up at it. So he loves Zelda. He's all about wanting to save the princess. Thank you, Serendipity, so much. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for all the birthday wishes. Let's keep a positive thought about Delphi. Everybody, keep the family in your prayers and your thoughts while we venture through this next step, because it's going to be extremely emotional and painful. And if it's going to be hard for us, it's going to be 10,000 times worse for them. So let's be there to build them up and hold them up. That's what my goal is for my channel. So with that being said, I'm going to say goodnight to everyone. Much love. And please be kind to one another. It does not take much to be kind. It's free. So be kind, you guys. And I will see you tomorrow. Good night, everyone.